take your business to the next stage when you switch to shop. You know, no matter how old or young you are, I'm that grandfather that's going to make it happen. Classic Gen X.
Hi guys, welcome back to XCOM 2, Longmore the Chosen. Doing Mod Jam mod run. So it's starting to get interesting, I guess. Still in the beginning rounds of the game. Let's see.
Do you have federal student loans? If you do, you're making payments again. It's hard saying goodbye to that much money every month. But by refinancing to a lower rate through Credible.com, you could drastically cut your monthly payments. At Credible, you get personalized rates from multiple lenders, so it's easy to find a refi that puts the most cash back in your pocket. And life with extra cash is, well, extra. See what you could save on your federal student loans. Visit Credible.com.
Our excellence is shining, yet so many of us are dying. Colon screenings are a must. They're recommended for those 45 and up. It's on us to stand up to cancer once and for all.
This Memorial Day, we honor our fallen service members who gave their lives for our country's freedom. Plus, American flags made in the USA. The founders of one proud company join Fox and Friends Live, sponsored by Allegiance Flag Supply, made the American way. The 5 Memorial Day special, answering fan mail questions.
When driving, you have the radio on.
You'd rather to be quiet?
No, Dana, we're not all like you.
Memorial Day on the 5. Why
It's good to go. We're local.
That very much local.
Because we're able to make meaningful connections with people right here in our community.
The kind of, every time I walk in and say it's like Coach Bill Corey, and they would just let me through.
I really feel good about helping others. And that's
When it comes to drugs, how much freedom is too much for kids? Drugs are out there, but IT feel free to say no around other kids. I didn't live drug-free when I was younger. And I admit that to my kids. Drugs hurt me, and how can I feel free to talk about it with my kids?
questions about drugs and kids? Call Blue Chat to get real-time support. With Impaired Driver taking care teaching, my life changed forever. During the pandemic, all of our lives changed, and many of us turned to alcohol and drugs to cope. As life returns to normal, the increase in substance use from COVID has lingered, and some police services report an increase in impaired driving that caused heartbreak and devastation. Now, more than ever, we need your commitment to never drive impaired, and to encourage all of your family and friends to do the same. Together, we can save lives.
Welcome back to Sunday Night America. The International Criminal Court announced it was exploring arrest warrants, not just for Hamas, but also for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Prosecuting the leaders of a terrorist group who have no regard for human life, who organized and carried out the mass murder of innocent civilians, and still hold hostages seems reasonable and overdue. But seeking to arrest the leader of a nation defending itself renders the ICC meaningless in the eyes of most of us. And that sentiment is shared on both sides of the aisle.
We reject the ICC's application for arrest warrants against Israeli leaders. Whenever these warrants may apply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas, contrary to allegations against Israel made by the International Court of Justice. What's happening is not genocide. We reject that.
This came just one day after Iranian President Ibrahim Raisi was killed in a helicopter crash. Raisi was no friend of the U.S. or Israel. But who and what comes after him? Joining us is former acting Undersecretary for Civilian Security, Democracy, and Human Rights, Mr. Nathan Sales. Welcome, sir. First, give us your reaction to the mere thought of the ICC seeking to arrest and prosecute Benjamin Netanyahu.
Well, Trey, this court is out of control. They have drawn a grotesque comparison between a democracy fighting to defend itself a terrorist organization that unleashed the deadliest wave of violence against Jews since the Holocaust, with 1,200 innocent Israelis, most of them civilians, murdered, raped, burned alive. And it's not just Israel that this court is gunning for. It's also threatening to come after members of Congress. Members of Congress were saying this court's out of control. We need to sanction these people before they come after the United States. The court responded to that by putting out a statement, wagging its finger and saying, well, you might be obstructing justice and you might be next. So the president, Congress need to draw a clear line in the sand. Now you're coming after Israel, but you're coming after us next, and we're going to stop it before this gets off the ground.
All right, for those of us who are not familiar with the ICC, I mean, I'm a little bit familiar with it, but it's not a court I've ever thought of. Where does their jurisdiction derive from, and who finances that entity?
Trey, it's a great question. Their jurisdiction comes from the consent of states. You only have jurisdiction over a state if the state has ratified the underlying treaty. And guess who didn't ratify the treaty? One, the United States, and two, Israel. And the reason is because both countries understood that if the ICC was created, it was only a matter of time before rogue prosecutors started coming after us, not the world's dictators like the leaders of Iran and Syria and North Korea, but liberal democracies who believe in the rule of law and human rights. And that's exactly what's happening here. Where does the money come from? That's a really interesting point. It actually comes from American allies. Countries like Japan, Germany, the United Kingdom, France are responsible for the vast majority of the ICC's budget. What the administration needs to do is quietly communicate to those countries, hey, guess what? It's American soldiers that are stationed on your soil that are protecting you from countries like Russia and China and North Korea. It would be obscene for you to be funding a court that's coming after American soldiers, the very American soldiers that are on your soil to protect you from our shared enemies.
You mentioned soldiers. Does the ICC have like a police force to actually serve arrest warrants? Because I have a hard time seeing an ICC agent showing up and doing battle with the IDF in Israel trying to serve an arrest warrant on Netanyahu.
Yeah, that would be a very one-sided.
Full cover.
The way this works, Trey, is that if the ICC goes ahead and issues an arrest warrant,
It's impossible, man. I was behind full cover.
National level police forces.
Cheater, pumpkin eater.
So if Benjamin Netanyahu traveled to Europe, for instance, the ICC would expect that those European countries would take Netanyahu into custody. And I've got to tell you, we've already started to hear some worrying signs coming out of Europe that some European countries may actually be willing to consider such an outrageous and radical step as that.
Jacob Sales, thank you for joining us on a Sunday night, loaning us your expertise.
Thanks for having me, Trey.
Coming up, there's a new wave spreading across our nation. It's called remorse. Some cities have had enough of the so-called progressive prosecutors, and now they want real public safety. Fox News contributor Paul Morrow talks about the failure of the cuddle with a criminal approach to law enforcement next on Sunday Night America.
Hi, I'm Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, and I'm here today to tell you about a hidden health crisis currently affecting nearly every American: sleep deprivation. And that's why you need to know about relaxing sleep. You see, getting a good night's sleep helps support a healthy immune system, helps maintain a healthy blood pressure, healthy cardiovascular system.
Relaxing Sleep is studied, tested, and designed by a neurologist to help you fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed.
Relaxing Sleep worked from the very first night I had more focus and mental clarity than I've had in years.
Join the hundreds of thousands of people who have experienced the relief and health benefits from getting a great night's sleep and get Relaxing Sleep.
After being a Relaxing customer for at least 3 years now, because I'm getting a better night's sleep, it's making everything else about my life more enjoyable.
It'll regulate your natural sleep cycle, relax your body, and calm the mind for better sleep through the whole night. Call today and get your very own risk-free bottle of Relaxing Sleep. Relaxium Sleep doesn't have any harmful chemicals like many prescription sleeping pills. With Relaxium Sleep, you can expect to start sleeping better the very first night. The very first night.
I wake up feeling alert and like I have the best night's sleep.
If you're like I was, and you've got trouble sleeping at night, take control of your health. Stop struggling with restless nights. Sleep like you were meant to with Relaxium.
My company is so confident that Relaxium will work for you, he's asked us to give away 1,000 bottles.
If you're not getting calm enough to go to sleep, take Relaxium Sleep. I promise you it will work.
Get your risk-free bottle of Relaxium Sleep now. It's guaranteed to work or your money back.
Absolutely.
Visit tryrelaxium.com or call 800-806-4851. That's tryrelaxium.com or call 800-806-4851.
He's only 47. Aneurysm. Did he have life insurance?
I'm not putting you there again.
Gotta get on it. Check out Select Quote. Trust me, for peace of mind, it's worth it. Life insurance is too important to put off another.
Wait till the crew catches up.
Quote makes getting coverage you need easy for less than $1 a day. Now get up to a $2 million policy with no medical exam and same-day coverage.
Visit SelectQuote.com. You shop, you save. If you were stationed, working, or living at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987, and you or a loved one have suffered from severe illness, you may be eligible for a settlement offer.
As a veteran, Morgan & Morgan really advocated for me.
I'm really grateful that Morgan & Morgan was there to help me because these guys did what I couldn't do on my own.
Morgan & Morgan is already helping over 15,000 veterans and their families in the fight towards justice. For more information, call the number on your screen or visit www.camplejeuneinjury.com.
We had to take out our old gas heating and radiant heat. That was a really, really huge project. Who has the time? As a toddler mom, I do not. I was so overwhelmed, so I started contacting people off of Angie to be able to see contractors that are licensed and real people reviews to work with people that obviously knew what they were doing. It was a game changer. Connect with skilled professionals to get all your home projects done well. Get started today at Angie.com.
I still love to surf, snowboard, and of course skate. So I take Cuno Magnesium to support my muscle and bone health. Cuno's extra strength, high absorption magnesium helps me get the full benefits of magnesium. Cuno, the brand I trust.
It is time for the question. Count the number of noodles, both white and black. How many total noodles are there?
Are you one of 50% of Americans who can answer this question correctly?
Black, that's the answer. 7.
This summer, it's not about what you know.
What happened? Oh, I got the wrong answer.
It's about how you think.
You're not going to face with stupid advice.
Oswald hosts.
Are you the top 1%?
The 1% Club premieres Monday through Thursday on Fox.
This year, make Father's Day special with the Fox News Shop.
Excellent.
Dad collection.
We did it.
Polos and hats to golf balls, a decanter set, and more. Show Dad the love with gifts you can't get anywhere else. Order now at foxnews.shop for holiday delivery.
Welcome back to Sunday Night America. Sometimes we go through fads, whether it's parachute pants or vinyl records or pixie haircuts. Some fads, however, can be deadly, like the fad of experimenting with prosecutors who aren't really prosecutors. They're defense attorneys masquerading as prosecutors. Portland had a progressive DA named Mike.
Oh my God.
Operative word being had. Even Portland figured out coddling criminals isn't a very good public safety strategy. Chesa Boudin was ousted in California. George Gascon undergoes a weekly recall effort. It seems Kim Fox is out. Marilyn Mosby ran into prosecutors herself. But Alvin Bragg and Bonnie Willis are still there. Few things in life have remained truly bipartisan. But staying alive and not getting robbed or assaulted or worse are among them. Turns out conservatives and even some liberals are tired of experimenting with our own safety. Joining us is a good friend of the show, attorney, retired NYPD inspector, and Fox News contributor, Paul Morrow. Welcome, Paul. You know, some fads are harmless, some cause real danger, they threaten your life. This experiment with so-called progressive prosecutors could very well wind up costing people their lives or at least jeopardize their safety.
Rolling out.
Yeah, and it could also
cost a certain resident of the White House his job, because crime is definitely on the agenda this November. And, you know, Troy, you and I have talked about it before. One of the things in play here, aside from the points that you mentioned, is that this time the devolution is televised. We're seeing this stuff. Everybody has a phone. It was a very bad time for the Democrats to decide, hey, let's let the defense bar rewrite all the rules of engagement for law enforcement across the country. And you can't hide the fact that we see videos like the one you're showing now on Square. And so even Portland, as you say, is coming to its senses. And, you know, it's not the big headline-grabbing crimes this time around. And I think that's a subtlety. It's quality of life stuff. And as you say, even liberals want to walk down the street. They want to be able to go to the bodega and get a quart of milk without having to take their lives in their hands. And that's what's driving this. This is a ground-up movement. And I think it's really, you know, being felt. And you're certainly feeling it in the VA races across the country.
You know, Paul, you and I are both attorneys, which means we like to ask the question why, although sometimes it's a dangerous question, we like it. I wonder why this fad started. I mean, it's always seemed counterintuitive to me because a very small group of people actually want to hurt for killers. So why don't we identify, prosecute them, separate them from society? It seems pretty simple to me, but we go through these cycles where the left wants to experience with justice reform, which is really Latin for let's let people out of jail. And it never works. And, you know, there was a point a number of years ago here in New York where we had, this is pre-criminal justice reforms, we still had broken windows policing. I don't care what anybody says, but we did, and it worked. But what we also had, and this is the really significant metric, we had declining incarceration rates. That's right. We had both. Okay, and this was after we had the Ray Kelly years as police commissioner. We got Bill Bratnels with 2 A-list police commissioners, and you really achieved the sweet spot. And what did that mean? Well, that meant that the people whose job it is to dismantle that kind of thing had to speak up. They had a friend in the Gracie Mansion here in New York, and Bill de Blasio, and then it just comes down to money and power. The people who get their money and their power from the kinds of initiatives you're talking about, it's not just the George Soroses. If you drill down deep enough, a lot of this stuff is government money, which is astounding. But that's their rice bowl. They're never going to give it up. And as a result, they keep the meme going that all we want to do is incarcerate people. You got the New York Times to pile on. And, you know, as they say, follow the money, you're going to find the culprits. You know, you mentioned something. We've only got a little bit of time, but I can't let you go before I highlight this. Most crime is local. It's state and local, as you pointed out. But this issue...
I didn't realize it lost effect. Okay.
It's a national issue, and I think it may even be a presidential
I thought it was a permanent. Oh, wow.
Very much so. I think very much so. And you know what? A lot of stuff sort of gets poured into the calendar if you look at it. Consider what we've seen around the country on the college campuses. The kids are being treated with kid gloves, and you know we all know those aren't the garden variety students. Those are the progressives who are going to get out and end up in Congress.
I'll show you Gizmo. I didn't see that, boys.
Tired of it. And whether you know whichever way you go on Donald Trump or Joe Biden, they know that more of the same is not productive for this country. It is on the agenda. It's going to matter.
Paul Morrow, always the voice that I turn to on matters of law enforcement and the justice system. Thank you for joining us on Sunday night.
Thank you, Frank.
And thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us. I hope you have a great week ahead. Until next week, you can find us online at Gowdy America or on the Trey Gowdy podcast. Good night from South Carolina.
Destructive tornadoes blasting through several states right now, with no signs of slowing down. The powerful storms are headed for some of America's biggest interstates, with millions set to travel today. Plus, a General Hospital star shot and killed in Los Angeles by armed robbers. His family is speaking with Fox News about what happened and why those suspects opened fire. And this Memorial Day, we honor those who gave their lives defending our freedom. We'll talk to loved ones of service members we've lost about what today means to them. You're watching Fox and Friends First here on this Memorial Day Monday morning. I am Todd Pyro. Carly Shimkus has the day off. President Biden and former President John Biden, those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Biden headed to Arlington National Cemetery this morning while his GOP rival spent the holiday weekend with
Most guy.
families in North Carolina. Douglas has more. Hey, Doug.
Todd, good morning. This is a day intended to remember the sacrifice of those who have died serving our country, and the two leading candidates for the White House have been doing exactly that. But it's also difficult to entirely divorce politics from all of this, and we are exactly 1 month out now from the first presidential debate, believe it or not. President Biden will make the traditional visit to Arlington National Cemetery later this morning to honor the fallen after hosting a Memorial Day breakfast at the White House. That should all wrap up this afternoon here on the East Coast. Former President Trump appeared at the Coca-Cola 600 NASCAR race yesterday in North Carolina. You see him there greeting the crowd. He also met with Gold Star families. And both of these candidates recognize the role that veterans can play in any election. 4 years ago, this is a group that Trump carried by some 20 points, according to our Fox News voter analysis of the 2020 election. Just yesterday, Trump's National Press Secretary posted this on X. On this Memorial Day weekend, President Trump has announced his new coalition, Veterans and Military Families for Trump, with 175 plus endorsements from decorated veterans, Gold Star families, and heroes who love our country. And the Trump campaign also just launched a website, Veterans for Trump. President Biden's wreath laying at Arlington, meantime, begins about 6 hours, Todd.
Doug Lazada live for us on a Memorial Day Monday. Doug, thank you. Former President Trump spending most of his Sunday at the Coca-Cola 600 getting a very warm reception from the NASCAR fans. Doug Collins is a former Georgia congressman, and Doug joins me now. Doug, great to see you as always. Look, obviously there is a huge enthusiasm gap between President Biden and former President Trump. That is obvious. But does this unbridled enthusiasm for Trump, one, turn out the base when it matters on election day and before when you early vote? And two, does it turn out independents and undecideds who may be on the fence at this point?
Well, that's going to be the great question. Look, I think it definitely shows that the polling and some of the issues are probably very real at this point. I think that's the biggest key. I mean, when you got a sitting president of the United States, when he comes into Atlanta, he comes into New Hampshire especially, there's nobody on the sidewalk. There's nobody really watching the normally see. It's just nobody cares, it seems like, and he can't even fill those venues. And then you have Donald Trump, who seems everywhere he goes, I mean, he can draw thousands in the South Bronx, and then, of course, at a NASCAR event, I mean, that's just a home field advantage right there. So it does, but I don't want anybody, especially if they're a Trump supporter, to think that this race is over simply because the crowds are so different, because you're exactly right. The real issue's going to come in about 5 months is when early voting starts and when the election day starts. And then everybody has to show up. It's not a matter of showing up at events. It's actually showing up on day of. And I think the Trump administration, his Trump campaign, compared to the Biden administration, is doing a good job of rallying that base and reminding them, hey, you got to show up.
It's an important warning for Trump supporters because, yes, Trump supporters support the man. Biden supporters don't necessarily support the man. They support the administration that's under him that basically, all indications are running our federal government. Means I want to get your thoughts on this. Federal officials at Denali National Park in Alaska allegedly telling construction workers to not fly the American flag. Senator Dan Sullivan writing a letter saying, quote, "This is an outrage, particularly in the lead up to our most solemn national holiday, Memorial Day, the time when Americans come together to honor those that gave their lives in service to our nation while wearing our country's flag." Now, in a statement to Fox News Digital, the National Park Service disputed that story. Quote, reports that a National Park Service official ordered the removal of an American flag from Denali Bridge construction workers' vehicle at Denali National Park are false. At no time did an NPS official seek to ban the American flag from the project site or associated vehicles. So obviously, we have to sort through the he said, she said in this situation. Fox has been unable to independently verify this claim that this happened. But if it is proven true, how does this happen, Doug, on such a solemn holiday like Memorial Day?
When bureaucracy forgets who it works for. I think that's the easiest way you have to look at this. And I think if it does come out to be true, you have too many people who are too sensitive in this country, especially when it comes around our national symbol, which is our flag. and it shouldn't have ever happened. But I want to bring back, because I think it ties into something you said right before we transition this topic, and that is there's a group of people who believe that this more woke left of center ideology, they believe that everything can be offensive. Look, the only thing that you have a really reason in this country to be offended by is anything you want to be offended by, that because there are men and women who gave their lives, and we're remembering them today, so that you have that freedom to be offended. But I'm tired of bureaucracy as being the one that tries to limit rights or do this if this proves to be true. It's just very frustrating to most Americans, and I think that's why you're seeing the enthusiasm gap. But it's also something, as you said too, there's this ideology to believe that government is best, and there's an ideology to believe that government is, in proper perspective, is best. And I think that's what you're seeing play out here.
Doug, before we let you go, your Memorial Day message, being a veteran, knowing people who lost their lives for our freedom.
Is this, just remember today, the day you have today is because there are people who actually served and died, did not come home. And I can tell you that those silence on overseas,
How much should I get?
back home, people are getting ready to get a message that is going to change their lives forever, is one that has stayed with me for many, many years coming out of Iraq. That those who gave their life came, they saw something bigger than themselves, and they gave their life. Please remember those families today, and please remember that that is the reason we observe Memorial Day today, is those who gave their life for all of us.
A beautiful message. Thank you, Doug, as always, for your service, and thank you for your time on this Monday morning. NASCAR driver Christopher Bell winning the rain shortened Coca-Cola 600 late last night. The race was called
That's good.
after a 2-hour lightning
Give me the shredding.
downpour in North Carolina. Only 249 of 400 laps were completed. Bell led the race high 90 laps for his second win of the year and first ever crown jewel win. He entered the race having only one top 10 finish in his past 7 Cup races. And to the greatest spectacle in all of racing, the Indianapolis 500 also delayed for a little bit of severe weather, but despite the 4-hour setback, Joseph Newgarden was able to win the race for the second year in a row. And like my kids, he likes dueling with Powell Ward in the final lap, ultimately catching the checkered flag just 0.34 seconds ahead of Ward to become the race's first back-to-back winner since 2002. He also had no flash. Some Democrats calling out Joe Biden for his economic message.
Democratic messaging is full of that's why. And talk about cost of living, and we're going to help deal with this, and don't talk about gossip, student loans.
So angry, he got a little spittle on his lip there. And we're highlighting veteran-owned businesses today. Up next, we'll meet the former Navy SEAL who now makes bottle openers out of military ammunition. Don't go anywhere.
It's a good one to have.
Forever grateful to those who put this great country first. We're continuing to offer all active military and veterans their first year of Fox Nation for free.
Celebrate our country with brand new shows and new seasons of exclusive content you can only see on Fox Nation.
Well underway.
Honor those who put their lives on the line and gave their all for our freedom. Fox Nation would like to thank active military veterans this Memorial Day. Sign up and get your first year free.
Your calling. Some people find theirs at an early age, others later in life. No matter when you find it, consider yourself lucky, because it becomes your everything. Our calling was to build trucks, and that's why trucks are what we do. We put our
Well, I forgot to equip all this shit.
So that when you find your calling, nothing can stop you from answering.
We know you care. But if this is all too real for you or your loved ones, make the call. Because we care too. Home instead. To us, it's personal.
From real quality that starts in our factory to real performance in your backyard, Steel tools are as tough and dependable as the people who use them. This Father's Day, give them the gift that's built for Dad. Right now, save $50 on select AK System battery tool sets. Real steel.
Gravity, the new cologne for men
I should
by
see if any of the troops have been keeping count on alien kills.
a powerful, unforgettable scent that lasts all day. Wear it day or night, work or play.
Strategic resource located.
Gravity, the new cologne for men by Particle. Get 25% off using the promo code. Free shipping plus 30-day money-back guarantee.
My moderate to severe psoriasis is coming back. Now with Skyrizi, I'm all in with clearer skin.
We completed our research in remarkable time, Commander.
With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieved 90% clear skin at 4 months, and most people were clear even at 5 years. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections, or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Now's the time. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist prescribed biological steroids. Might not have been happy
I'll have a report
Tonight, it's the best of Hannity. From Sean's one-on-one with former President Trump at the border to a collection of must-see interviews. Don't miss this special Hannity.
Conduct some of our more theoretical experiments.
It's important that we're
Perhaps
local.
the next time we sit down.
When you're working to make these things, place, that very much needs a local feel.
Because we're able to make meaningful connections with people right here in our community.
It kind of is a joke, but every time I walk in, it's
Avenger plotting new course.
they're just like fruit.
I know a little bit about helping other people. And that's how I was brought up.
Oh, shit. Okay. Well, it's a good party.
There is a way
We are back with a 5 weather alert. More than 120 million people are at risk for severe weather on this Memorial Day as dangerous storms barrel toward the East Coast after wreaking havoc on the South and Midwest. At least 18 people were killed across 4 states after tornadoes plowed through the region, and more than 600,000 people across 13 states are waking up without power this morning, including more than 200,000 in Kentucky. Tyler Melito from our affiliate Fox 56 is in Bergen, Kentucky, where one person has been confirmed dead. Tyler.
That is right, Todd. Good morning. The city of Bergen is described as a friendly little city, but on this Memorial Day, it's going to be a grieving city this morning. As many people are waking up, getting ready for their parades and barbecues. Many people here in Mercer County, Kentucky, where the city of Bergen is located, will be picking up the trash and picking up the debris left from last night's storms. And here's a little better look at what I'm talking. We haven't been able to find the exact location.
Oh, wow, it looks like Tyler Shots breaking up, and obviously that just underscores how difficult it is for folks down there. And you can see that massive twister just pouring through. Let's get right to meteorologist Adam Klotz with our Fox weather forecast. And Adam, think about that sheer number. 120 million people could be at some risk of severe weather today. That is like a third of the country
I mean, it's a huge swath of the country, and it's all been the same storm system slowly working its way across the country, still on the move, the same one that brought the tornadoes that just moved across Kentucky and across much of the Midwest. You're still seeing at this point some severe weather. No tornadoes on the ground, but every one of these yellow boxes is a severe warning thunderstorm. Winds up to 60 miles an hour here very early this morning, still some hail. These are big storms now moving across portions of Tennessee, northern Georgia, and then northern Alabama as well. This whole line of storms ultimately is going to push right up along the East Coast. Everything here in the red is at least some risk of severe weather. Now, that risk is much lower today than it has been previous days. So this is not nearly as severe, but that risk is still there at least somewhat. And it is running into larger metropolitan areas. So this is a 2 on a scale of 5. Yesterday we were on a 4. But New York, Philadelphia, D.C., all in on this, running further to the south. You're getting to Raleigh, Charlotte, ultimately over towards Atlanta, all places where you could see some severe weather. There's at least a low-level risk of seeing tornadoes from Philly down to D.C. and then running ultimately down into North Carolina, areas where you might at least, on the very low end, see some of that severe weather. On a wider look, here's the look at the Memorial Day outlook for everybody else. The rain is really highlighted here on the eastern half of the country. So, Todd, good news is for most of the other folks across the country, you see a lot of clear skies there. A really nice Memorial Day. But, yeah, 120 million folks up and down the East Coast are going to be dealing with it. Gotta stay safe out there, Adam. Thank you. All right, imagine ammunition actually used on the battlefield by our service members being used to open your beer bottles and hold your cigars. Well, that's exactly what one company is doing. That company is called Bottle Breacher. Mike Wall's the CEO of Bottle Breacher, here to tell us about the business. Now, Mike, you bought the company from Navy SEAL and current Congressman Eli Crane, but obviously you know the history of this company. How did this idea come about?
Eli and his wife, I know they had an idea in their garage and built the company from the ground up, and I had the opportunity to buy the company.
Oops, wrong click.
It's been a great experience. All our staff are either veterans, they are first responders, or family of first responders and veterans. So today is an important day for us.
So what does Memorial Day mean within the walls of a company where everybody has a tie to our military service, like you just mentioned?
I'm all over it. It's a day of remembrance. I mean, we all love our barbecues and our swimming pools, but I will tell you that we all value and we're grateful for the people that serve and have fought and given the ultimate sacrifice for this country. So we have, I think it's even bigger is trying to educate our kids to try to understand, to be grateful, and to understand what people have done for this country to give us the rights that we have and the freedom we have. So I'll tell you, our staff and our team is we have the day off, except for me right now, but we are grateful for what we have right now in this country. So.
Well, we won't take too much more of your time. We do want to let the viewers know, if you go to bottlebreach.com and use the code GRATEFUL30, you're going to get 30% off. I want to be clear, the company's called Bottle Breacher, but the website is bottlebreach.com. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, it's Bottle Breacher. It's Bottle Breacher.
So let's add an ER at the end there. We want to be clear. Bottlebreacher.com. Type in Grateful30, obviously showing that you are grateful for everything that our brave men and women have done for us, and to get that 30% off. Mike Wall, enjoy your day, and thank you for reminding us why we are here. General Hospital star Johnny Walker, shot and killed during an armed robbery in Los Angeles. A report on the tragic details of his death is next.
Everybody wants super straight, super white teeth. They want that Hollywood white smile. Sensodyne Clinical White provides 2 shades whiter teeth and 24/7 sensory protection. I think it's a great product. It's going to help a lot of patients.
This Memorial Day, we honor our fallen service members who gave their lives for our country's freedom. Plus, American flags made in the USA. The founders of One Craft Company join Fox and Friends Live, sponsored by Allegiance Flag Supply, made the American way.
Today, at American Beverage Companies, our bottles might still look the same, but they can be remade in a whole new way. Thanks to you for getting bottles back.
And we've developed a way
way to make new ones from 100% recycled plastic.
New bottles made using no new plastic. We see more of these bottles in more places.
And when we get more of them back,
We can use less new plastic.
see how our bottles are made to be remade.
We just want to have enough money for retirement.
And travel to visit our grandchildren.
I understand. That's why Fisher Investments, we start by getting to know each other so I can learn about your family, lifestyle, goals and needs, allowing us to tailor your portfolio.
What about commission-based products?
We don't sell those. We're obligated back in your best interest. So how do you manage that? We have a transparent fee structured so we do better when you do better. At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
If you have Graves' disease, your eye symptoms could mean something more. That gritty feeling can't be brushed away. Even a little blurry vision can distort things, and something serious may be behind those itchy eyes. Up to 50% of people with Graves could develop a different condition called thyroid eye disease, which should be treated by a different doctor. See an expert. Find a TED eye specialist at isitted.com.
You've waited all week for this, Mr. Saturday Morning. So rise and shine. Your chariot awaits. Look, you didn't get a Greenworks just to hurt your weepy old gas mower's feelings. You got it because Greenworks perfected lawn care on the world's most powerful commercial platform and used that innovation to develop the ultimate platform for all. The Maximus C all-in-one utility zero turn from Greenworks. With more power, more life, and all the versatility of one battery. That powers over 75 products. You'll forget all about that.
Sam, how long have you been out here?
45 minutes?
Oh, I didn't hear a thing.
Yeah, now that's quiet power. Start kicking gas today with up to 25% off plus free shipping for a limited time. Visit participating retailers at greenworkstools.com.
I was so excited to buy my first home, but I needed a lot of work done on it. I went on to Angie. JD was the first person to call.
I explained to her some of the things I could do and showed her some pictures.
He's resurfaced my flooring, he's done plumbing work, he's refinished this beautiful table here.
We just tried to sand it for a week.
Well, we didn't, but with top-rated certified pros in over 500 categories, Angie can connect you with the right pro for any home project. Find top-rated certified pros in your area at Angie.com.
Yes.
Stay tuned to save $10 on the amazing socket fan light from Bell & Howell. When you're hot, nothing feels better than the gentle cooling breeze of a ceiling fan. This is the revolutionary socket fan by Bell & Howell. The amazing 2-in-1 ceiling fan and light. If you can screw in a light bulb, you can...
I got so fucking lucky there.
Socket fan comes with this handy remote. With a push of a button, you can control the light and the breeze that you need. Socket fan fits any standard light socket. You can do it yourself and install socket fan in less than 10 seconds. And now, the socket fan lights with deep socket extender is yours for $59.95. Act now, and we'll take $10 off. So you get it for just $49.95 with free shipping. Order now, and you can get a second fan for 50% off. And the shipping is free. Get cool fast with Socket Fan. Call 1-800-930-6057 or go to mysocketfan.com.
Were you stationed, working, or living at Camp Lejeune between 1953 and 1987? If you or a loved one have suffered from a severe illness, you may be eligible for a settlement offer ranging from $100,000 to $550,000 without a court filing. Morgan & Morgan is already helping over 15,000 veterans and their families in the fight towards justice. For more information, call the number on your screen or visit www.camplejeuneinjury.com.
In Choctaw, Hamas officials and dozens of civilians are reportedly dead after an Israeli airstrike takes off under the IDF confirming the strike, saying they targeted a compound where the terrorist group was operating. IDF sources telling Fox Digital the strike killed 2 men responsible for numerous terror attacks against Israelis in the early 2000s. The airstrike was reported hours
Well, that was a misclick.
from Gaza that set off air raid sirens. as far away as Tel Aviv. Former General Hospital star Johnny Wachter is dead after being gunned down during an armed robbery in downtown Los Angeles this weekend. Ashley Strohmeyer is here with the details.
Yeah, so police say 37-year-old Johnny Wachter, who appeared on 164 episodes of the soap opera General Hospital, was shot and killed after confronting 3 men stealing a catalytic converter from his car. It happened around 3:30 Saturday morning when the actor was leaving a side job at a bar restaurant with a female co-worker. He apparently thought his car was being towed, and when he went to confront the 3 men, they shot him. Paramedics arrived shortly after, but Wachter was pronounced dead at the hospital. His mother said he didn't try and fight them or stop them from stealing the car, saying they were walking to their car, and when they got there, Johnny's car looked like it was jacked to one side. So he said, "Hey man, are you trying to tow my car?" And the person looked up and had a mask on, and so he stepped in front of the co-worker and then backed up and put his hands up, and the person shot him. Wachter's agent remembering him saying he was, quote, not just a talented actor who was committed to his craft, but a real moral example to everyone who knew him, standing for hard work, tenacity, and never give up attitude. In the highs and lows of a challenging profession, he always kept his chin up and kept striving for the best he could be. And in fact, according to police, those 3 suspects still have yet to be found.
You know, they wanted to bring up the downtown Los Angeles to have it be some real, something that people could want to aspire to. People could live. Now, I wouldn't be caught dead there. No way. And it's a horrible, scary place. Ashley Strohmeyer, thank you. Memorial Day tribute's already underway. Approximately 18,000's gathering in Arlington National Cemetery to place flowers at the tomb of the unknown soldier for the Flowers of Remembrance Day. And today, the Navy Memorial will host a wreath-laying ceremony in Washington, D.C. to honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice in service. That event will feature the U.S. Navy Band and the U.S. Navy Ceremonial Guard. And in New York City, the Intrepid Museum will hold its annual Memorial Day ceremony. Civic and military leaders will give remarks and join in a special wreath-laying ceremony. The ceremony is going to display a 100-foot American flag and include a flyover of Navy fighter jets. This Memorial Day, we also remember the 13 brave service members killed during the botched Afghanistan withdrawal nearly 3 years ago. Some of their loved ones are here to honor them and the sacrifices they have made to defend our country.
Fuck. It's a piece of shit item.
Mother of Army Staff Sergeant Christian Knaus. Mark Schmitz is the father of Marine Lance Corporal Jared Schmitz, and Darren Hoover, the father of Marine Staff Sergeant Taylor Hoover. We've had you all on the program before. We know that on a day like today, your presence here is more important than ever. Paula, I'll begin with you. How would you like the nation to remember Ryan?
Ryan was very smart. He was very bright. He was very strong. What he believed in, that's our country. And right now, I look forward to just seeing my son and always every day. To say to him, well done, son. We miss you so much. And we can't wait till one day see you again.
Mark, how would you like the nation to remember your son, and how are you carrying on his legacy, Jared's legacy, through your nonprofit?
Jared probably died the way he would have wanted to as a Marine, not as an old man, but serving his country, and it didn't have to go down the way that it did, that we all know, but he died loving what he was doing. We've tried to honor my son and continue his legacy through the freedom13.org. We are building 50 camps in 50 states on over 50,000 acres with 650 homes for veterans to go out and use to help prevent and bring down that suicide number, to help these guys regroup, basically reboot and reset their lives. They're more than welcome to bring their families. This is a recreational retreat for veterans, and we hope that by these guys utilizing our services and our properties across the country, that they'll learn more about Jared and remember others that made the ultimate sacrifice as well.
It's a beautiful mission, and it's a beautiful way to keep your son's legacy alive. Mr. Hoover, same question to you. How would you like the nation to remember your son?
Taylor was a very gregarious and had a very outgoing personality. You know, his leadership style that he had was what has been quoted to us as the old guard. He was one of the OGs of the Marine Corps before things started changing. He was obviously the oldest of the group, and his style of leadership pulled people to him, pulled his guys to him. He set his career and his legacy by example, and obviously he was
That's
out
a
there
good
at
one.
that gate. He didn't have to be, but he was. That's just the kind of man that he was, and he died giving his all for our country.
I think something you just said is so important, that he didn't have to be here. Didn't have to be
Hey,
here.
boys.
I think
Good boy.
even for those who've been drafted into many of our wars, I'm not saying all, but many of those drafted, they could have found a way to get out so that they didn't have to go to Vietnam or World War II. But at the end of the day, they decided that their duty to our country was more important. And they ultimately gave their lives in service of our nation. And when you think about that concept, they didn't have to be there. It just underscores how brave your children were. And I use that word children, and every time I say that, that gives me a lump in my throat, because I think of my two girls, and I think of losing them. And there's no greater fear that I have. Before we let everybody go, what do you think your loved one's message would be to the rest of us on this Memorial Day? Darren Hoover, I begin with you.
I think his message would be to be with your family. Family was one of Taylor's big things. Get together, have the barbecue, but in the process of doing so, go out and learn about some of these heroes that have gone on before them. Not only our kids, but the heroes before them. Learn about them and
Grenade launcher, hell yeah.
and know their stories and be able to pass
Sounds
those
good.
things along to friends, to their family that may not know. And like I said, have those barbecues, but have it be maybe a thing of silence, a moment of silence for each and every one of them that have gone on before.
Mark Schmidt, same question to you. How would Jared want us to enjoy, celebrate, mark today, Memorial Day?
I think he would wish that the country would respect a little bit more what they actually have been given by the sacrifices of so many. The freedoms that we all enjoy, the freedom to protest, the freedom to voice your opinion, the freedom to have a democracy that we all live in. And unfortunately, it's been taken advantage of by far too many, and they lose sight of the reasons of why they're afforded the freedoms that they have. This is the thing that all these kids stood for and ultimately died for.
Finally, Paula, to you, what would Ryan's message be to all of us on this Memorial Day?
You know, Ryan got scratched off for that particular mission, and he pitched such a fit that his commanders allowed him to go back and be on that mission, and he volunteered for it. And right now I can tell you that Ryan would say, we move forward. And he would also say, we can all do it just a little bit more. And that was Ryan. Ryan was always excelling and making himself who he was. And I know he would want that for each of us.
Paula, Mark, and Darren, the incredibly proud parents of Ryan, Jared, and Taylor, we thank you for your time this morning. We will never forget the sacrifice that your sons made. We'll be right back.
Good morning, with vocal accent. Good morning. Yeah. Try Doculax Chewy Fruit Bites for fast and gentle constipation relief in as little as 30 minutes. Making your good morning even better with Doculax. Look in the Hotels.com app to find your perfect somewhere.
Someone needs to customize and save hundreds on car insurance with Liberty Mutual. Let's fly. Keep. I thought you were right behind me. Only pay for what you need. Switch to Shopify so you can build it better, scale it faster, and sell more. Much more. Take your business to the next stage when you switch to Shopify.
Why is it so hard to find a good pro to work on your house? What I look for is someone who's reliable, who's true to their word, and skillful. That's where Angie comes in. With Angie, find top-rated certified pros in your area, plus compare quotes and pricing to help you get all your jobs done well.
The price was right. Everything was done the same day.
With top-rated certified pros in over 500 categories, Angie can connect you with the right pro for any home project. Find top-rated certified pros in your area at Angie.com.
I like makeup that makes you look like yourself, but better. Miracle Ball is the center of my beauty philosophy. It gives you moisture, and it only takes a nanosecond to put it on. Learn more at jonesroadbeauty.com.
And now they'll be expecting us to hit the
In the fast-paced rhythm of life, where demands can be relentless and time is precious, prioritizing your well-being can be hard. Not to worry. Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements are convenient and easy to add to any schedule. Paired with eating more fresh produce, regular exercise, and a positive mindset, Balance of Nature fruits and veggie supplements can help you keep your rhythm. Whether it be excelling in your day-to-day or just living in the moment, start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Make a splash into summer with Balance of Nature. Get 35% off plus a free fiber and spice supplement with your first order as a preferred customer. Don't wait. This offer is only available while supplies last with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Fox News.
Jesse kicks off summer with a Memorial Day quiz and a Jake Paul exclusive.
What happens if Tyson bites your ear off? He can't bite my ear off if I knock his teeth out.
Tonight on Primetime.
I want to be world heavyweight.
Good boys, I love you. I'm a good boy.
When I found out about working right away, I was sitting inside on the phone talking with somebody saying, I don't need everything. I got nothing. I'm like, 14 years. Former Rhode Island Congressman Patrick Kennedy endorsing President Biden over his own cousin, independent candidate RFK Jr.
There is no other choice than Joe Biden. If you care about this addiction crisis and this mental health crisis, Joe Biden is your candidate.
That sounded like an endorsement.
Setting course.
Of course it is. He's the best.
The best. Okay. Former congressman is the latest candidate to choose Biden over RFK Jr. After over a dozen family members endorsed the president last month, Thanksgiving is going to be awkward. From Thanksgiving to Memorial Day, Memorial Day barbecue is costing more than usual. virtual issue. According to a recent study, Americans are spending 10% more for groceries this Memorial Day compared to last year. Let's go through the list. Chicken prices up more than 3% from last year. Cheese up 6%. Buns up nearly 13%. And pickles are pushing a 14% price increase. Sorry about those things. Meantime, condiments costing 13% more. Cookies up nearly 16%. Cost of beer up 5.9%. And that's why I'm having the Brits that are coming to my barbecue today buy the beer. We won the war, we take the beer. And as high prices cause headaches for Americans, Democrat strategist James Carville going after his own party for their economic message or lack thereof to voters. Watch.
We keep wondering why these young people aren't coming home to the Democrats. We say, oh, why blacks are not coming home to the Democrats? Because Democratic messaging is full of that's why. And talk about cost of living, and we're going to help deal with this. And don't talk about Gaza student loans.
I mean, when you have spittle, you're really fired up. Let's be real. Beverly Auburn, president of District Media Group, fellow at the Independent Women's Forum. We're not going to be monitoring you for spittle, Beverly, but at the end of the day, he's right, isn't he?
He is right, and he is looking at the polling, as he just mentioned. When you take a look at the data, it looks like the advantage that Democrats typically have with minority voters continues to decline. And I think when you add to that President Joe Biden is older, people are questioning his mental ability to be able to do this job. There is much room for concern. So what he is saying to Democrats, especially the progressive extreme wing, stay away from the Israel-Gaza comments. Stick to things like the kitchen table issues, because even though wages have gone up, they have not outpaced inflation, and voters typically vote on what impacts them day to day. He's been doing this for a long time, and I think Democrats should definitely listen to him.
In the recent Quinnipiac poll among registered voters, the most urgent issue, to your point, facing the country was, you guessed it, the economy at 28%. And look down there, like you said, Beverly, the Israel and Hamas war only received 4%. But will Democrats heed your warning, heed James Carville's warning, or is their base just so fractured at this point that they are not coming together in the next 5 months?
I do think it's going to be difficult because the base is fractured. I think a lot of this, too, goes to the power of social media. You can have a few members of Congress. There are the female members of Congress on the Democrat side who are very vocal. They use social media very well, and they're able to get their own personal standpoint out there. They get a lot of airtime, and I think it's hard for parties to caucus these days with these competing social media outlets versus traditional media. And so the wrangling that we typically would see,
laser weapons look pretty good, have to admit.
Was at the head of it, doesn't tend to happen these days. So I'm not sure that they will heed James Carville, and it could be to their own detriment.
Meantime, Hillary Clinton says she lost the 2016 race to Trump because women voters abandoned her for not being perfect. I love the long list of excuses. It's been like 7.5 years now. Hillary said, quote, they left me because they just couldn't take a risk on me because as a woman, I'm supposed to be perfect. They were willing to take a risk on Trump, who had a long list of, let's call them flaws, to illustrate his imperfection because he was a man, and they could envision a man as president and commander-in-chief. Or, Beverly, could it be that she didn't go to Wisconsin?
Well, there's a lot of factors, and I do think that Hillary Clinton continues to lack self-reflection. Her list of people or entities she has blamed is now over 40, whether that's the media or Vladimir Putin. She's now adding women to the list, and she's saying to women, the reason you didn't vote for me was because I wasn't perfect. Actually, women vote for or against somebody for a lot of reasons, and they may be looking at her record, especially on Memorial Day, and saying, well, you were Secretary of State when the tragedy happened at Benghazi, or maybe they don't like the fact that she did not support women who accused her husband of sexual impropriety, or maybe the fact that she's just not likable. And I think it's very insulting to women where she is out here saying, I am owed this vote because I'm a woman. She doesn't think she needs to earn that vote. This isn't going to help her, and I think actually points to the fact that she just can't look at herself.
Beverly Auburn, thank you for getting up with us on a Memorial Day.
Goodbye.
I appreciate it. A transgender high school runner has just taken home the win in the 400 meter during the Washington State Championship, beating the next highest competitor by a full second. That is a lot in racing. Riley Gaines is a former NCAA swimmer, host of Games for Girls on Outkick.com, and the author of Swimming Against the Current, Fighting for Common Sense in a World That Has Lost Its Mind. And Riley joins me now. Let's start, Riley, with the runners who stood up for themselves at this protest. What's your message to them?
Look, I could not be more proud of these girls. There's a video of these girls standing on the podium, and it was amazing to me to watch their reaction when the second place finisher, the rightful state champion, is announced. The girls are ecstatic, they're clapping, they're cheering, giving each other high fives, but then when the boy's name is announced and he stands atop the podium, their body language says it all. They're not cheering. It's very obvious that they're not enthralled. And I think that goes to show, one, these girls are not okay with it, but two, I believe a big part of why they aren't speaking out, they're not, using their voice to openly oppose this, is because they face risk and threats. And I understand those risks and threats. I know they're real, but all that to say, could not be more proud of those girls.
The person who won this race could only manage 164th place out of 172 when competing as a boy. That's like where Joe Biden landed in his law school class, but I digress. How can the left continue to say that biology doesn't matter when example after example, Riley, shows that it clearly does?
Because they're virtue signaling sellouts, to put it quite frankly with you. I believe we are a nation in decline for several reasons. One, first and foremost, I think because we live in a godless society, but two, because we are a nation that is governed and led by weak-kneed, spineless, morally bankrupt cowards. And I mean that at virtually every level. Of course, our leaders in the White House, I mean that in academia and corporate America, even seemingly our spiritual leaders who are afraid to take a stand. That's what this boils down to. We have weak leaders who have not only allowed this, but they glorify this. We are telling the boy in this scenario that not only is he the champion, but he's brave, he's inspiring. And what a terrible message to send to young girls, telling them that they're not worthy of calling themselves champions. They're being told that they have to compete for second place.
Yeah, and along those lines, we destroy these kids during the COVID lockdowns. We are destroying them through social media and their phones, which addict them. What is the psyche of these girls, these high schoolers, mind you, middle and high schoolers in some instances, that we're doing this to them? What is their psyche that we're destroying here?
I love this question because it's something that's not often considered. As being a collegiate athlete myself who had to compete against a boy, also having to deal with COVID in college, I'll tell you that the parallels there are very similar. We were told during COVID, Riley, if you don't get the vaccine, you're going to be hurting your teammates. Riley, you're supposed to be the leader. You're the team captain. It's the same thing I heard my senior year in competing against Leah Thomas. They said, Riley, you don't want to have blood on your hands, do you? Don't you want to be kind? Don't you want to be inclusive? What we call this is emotional blackmail. We call that gaslighting. That's what this is. And again, it's effective. Believe it or not, it works. That's why there are so few who are willing to stand tall, who are willing to be unapologetic with saying, and this is I can't believe it's controversial to even say this. This has been my stance from day one. Men and women are different. That's it. That's the whole shtick right there. And each sex is deserving of equal opportunity, privacy, and safety. That's it.
Riley Gaines, thank you for fighting for my two girls and girls across the nation. We appreciate it. All right, look at this. Over 30,000 Chinese migrants have made their way into the U.S. through California since October. That's an 8,000% increase in 3 years. Nothing to see there. Florida Congressman Greg Steube tell us how much of a national security threat this really is. But first, we're looking at what's coming up.
Hey, good morning, brother. On this Memorial Day, those that paid the ultimate sacrifice. A national park is taking heat for allegedly telling construction workers not to fly the American flag at the park. Former Navy SEAL and Congressman Ryan Zinke is demanding answers. He'll join us live and tell us what's going on there. And it's going to cost you a lot more to fire up the grid. Inflation has impacted our Memorial Day. Plus, Frank Sillard shares how Tunnel to Towers is honoring families of the fallen. Billy Ray Cyrus will join us for a special performance of Some Gave It All. That's coming up. Busy Memorial Day, Monday morning here on Fox and Friends. Back in a couple minutes.
We handcraft every Stearns & Foster using the finest materials like indulgent memory foam and ultra-conforming inner springs for a beautiful mattress and indescribable comfort. Save up to $800 on select adjustable mattress sets at stearnsandfoster.com.
Over 13 million Americans were affected by identity theft in 2022, and the threats go way beyond just credit card fraud. Today's identity thieves can use your information in ways that are easy to miss by just monitoring accounts and credit, like opening loans, transferring home titles, even committing crimes.
Someone got my social security number, made a driver's license, and was used for criminal activity.
You could do so much with a social security number that I didn't know could happen. They drained my bank account. It was terrifying.
You're even more vulnerable than you realize. Your information is exposed through online shopping, banking, even corporate data breaches. No wonder there's a new victim of identity theft every 3 seconds. Only LifeLock alerts you to the widest volume of threats all in one place, like someone trying to use your social security number, open a new loan in your name, or even commit a crime in your name.
There was a big yes button and there was a big no button. I clicked, that's not me, and LifeLock took it from there.
If you become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will be assigned to your case and work to fix the issue on your behalf.
If something happens, you have somebody fighting for you.
All LifeLock members are backed by the LifeLock $1 Million Protection Package, including reimbursement for stolen funds, personal expenses, and coverage from lawyers and experts up to $1 million. It can be dangerously easy to steal your identity. With LifeLock, it's easy to help protect yourself.
I will be with LifeLock forever.
Join the millions of people already protected by LifeLock, and for a limited time, save 25% on your first year with promo code 25TV. All plans include a 60-day money-back guarantee. Call 800-710-4654 or visit lifelock.com/25TV to save 25% on your first year of identity theft protection. Enroll now.
To get more yarn done right, pros everywhere trust Greenworks for instant on, run all day, commercial grade, absolute power. And now you can unleash all that power in all-electric Maximus C, the most versatile zero-turn utility mower on the planet. It's 30% more powerful than gas with 31 horsepower, cutting up to 3.5 acres on a single charge with a consistent maximum blade tip speed for a more precise, beautiful cut. And the only zero-turn mower with a rear dump bed. No gas, no fumes, no maintenance. Just absolute power from an intelligent battery system that works with over 75 tools. Save hassle for a quieter, faster, easier job well done. More power, more versatility, more fun. For a limited time, get up to 25% off plus free shipping. Visit participating retailers or greenworkstools.com now. That's life. Power by Greenworks.
Gravity, the new cologne for men by Parker. A powerful, unforgettable scent that lasts all day.
Operating out of regions around the
Wear it day or
Once we've
night,
collected sufficient
or
info to
play.
make contact, we'll need to scan the target region for the
Gravity,
operative
the
signal.
new cologne for men by Particle. Get 25% off using the promo code. Free shipping plus 30-day money-back guarantee.
When dry acid dips the heat, counting back, inflammation might be to blame. Over-the-counter eye drops can provide temporary relief. Sun-Dry can provide lasting relief. It targets inflammation that can cause dry eye disease. Sun-Dry treats the signs and symptoms of dry eye disease. Dry users allergic to Sun-Dry. Common side effects include eye irritation, discomfort or blurred vision when applied, and unusual taste sensation. Why wait? Ask your doctor about a 9-day prescription and pay as little as $0. Sun-Dry.
This year, make Father's Day special with the Fox News Shop's new Proud American Dad collection. From bowling to hats to golf balls, a beginner set, and more. Grab the love you can't get anywhere else. Order now at foxnews.shop for holiday delivery. TV data shows that 30,000 Chinese migrants have entered the U.S. since October. That means a 65% increase since fiscal year 2021.
defenses. Why not send 30,000 people, military-age males, operatives into the United States? Because they all know, the entire world knows that our border is wide open. You add that onto the 20,000 that have come in since Joe Biden's been president. It's over 50,000 Chinese Communist Party individuals that are in our country that I'm sure are communicating with one another. That's on top of the 30-something thousand Russians, people from Afghanistan, you name it, all over across the world. Our enemies realize that our southern border is wide open and they're going to take every advantage and exploit it.
So to be clear, Congressman, you do not believe that these 30,000 Chinese are here simply for a better life. You think there is something else behind the scenes to them being here.
No, absolutely not. And look at the number. I mean, 30,000 just since October. And if you look at that compared to the number in the last 3 years, there was only 20, I think it was 25,000 since Joe Biden took office. So they're seeing that they're able to work with the cartels in Mexico to get operatives into our country. It's not a coincidence. Our enemies see the failures of Joe Biden at the southern border and the failures of him on national security issues and see this as an opening to get operatives into the country. There's other nations all across the world that are doing it. There's Iranians that have come into our country. People from all over the world that hate us that are coming here to do us harm. And Joe Biden is doing absolutely nothing about it. And in fact, he's encouraging it. He's taken 64 executive actions since he's been president to open up the southern border for political purposes.
Okay, so Congressman, what do we do about it?
Well, we're not going to be able to do anything until Donald Trump is elected president in November and takes office in January. He can reverse the 64 different things that Joe Biden has done, put back, remain in Mexico, finish building the wall, do things to build up our national security. Congress passed H.R. 2, our border security bill, over a year ago, but Chuck Schumer's not going to take it up because you've seen cities and states that are run by Democrats try to allow illegal immigrants to vote. This is a complete political motivation for them. So Chuck Schumer's not going to change it. He's not going to change the policies that we had in place, that we passed in the House that would change all of this. He's not going to allow that to be heard in the Senate. So the only way to truly change this is to elect a new president, Donald Trump, into the White House in November.
In a word, it's terrifying and it's existential, and we better wake up. Meantime, leaders of South Korea, China, and Japan were set to meet today for their first trilateral talks since 2019, as reports emerge that we, America, are actively preparing for war with China. We're doing some war games. Question for you, Congressman, do we war game everything, or is the fact that we are war gaming China now a clear sign we are anticipating some kind of conflict?
Yeah, we've been wargaming China invading Taiwan for years. It's been something that the Chinese Communist Party obviously believes that Taiwan belongs to them. The Taiwan leaders will tell you the threats. There's been over like 500 or 5,000 different military sorties from the Chinese Communist Party into Taiwanese airspace just in the last couple of years. Again, they see the weakness in our White House. They saw what this president did in Afghanistan. They see what's happening in Ukraine. They see that we're leaving our ally Israel.
I'm definitely saving this.
Hamas through humanitarian aid. They see all of this. So they're looking at an opportunity to invade Taiwan. They've openly talked about Taiwan belongs to them. And if you talk to a Taiwanese leader, and with all of these different military sorties into their airspace, they're very, very concerned.
Congressman, finally, it is...
I'll see you guys next time, alright? Peace out.
You're a veteran yourself.
Stay tuned. It's going to be good.
Well, let's just remember Memorial Day is not a day of celebration. It's a day of solemn remembrance to remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice in service to our nation. I'll be in Charlotte County today in multiple different events speaking for Memorial Day.